a world that never slows down and peace feels like a distant dream, I decided to do something simple. Today, I'm cooking for the ones that I love. Not to impress anybody, not to escape, but to have peace of mind in the only place I can feel safe in, my home. Stay tuned to see what I made for the family and let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Now, without further ado, let's get into it.
Good morning, beautiful people. I hope your day is blessed and abundant. I'm about to go to the grocery store, get some groceries for the weekend for dinner tonight. So I'm going to take y'all along for the ride. So let's hop aboard. All right, so I just got done my grocery shopping. Budget was $150. I actually spent $148, so that's pretty good. I'm about to go home, make the family breakfast, put some gas in the car probably, and I will see y'all later. All right, the wife and kids are asleep right now, so I'm gonna make breakfast so they can wake up with something hot and fresh to eat. Once breakfast is made, I'm gonna make my dessert. I know my wife wanted something like a sweet treat. She didn't want me to spend a ton of money, but she also wanted me to surprise her with something homemade, so we're gonna go ahead and make this cake. But first, let's get breakfast made and get the family taken care of, and then we'll go ahead and get our dessert. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit on that subscribe button so I can keep bringing you easy and fun recipes to make, as well as content like this. I'm trying to do this full time, honestly, so I can just spend more time with my wife and my kids, just have that quality time, and also spend time with you to show you how easy and fun it is to cook. So if you don't mind showing some love, hit that subscribe button, make sure you share these videos, and help get the word around about cooking with Pat Lee. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. When I was getting bacon this morning when I went grocery shopping, every single pack says $6.99, $8.99. Some even said $15.99. And I'm just like, everything is just so expensive. But fortunately, I was able to find this pack for $4.99, which is a pretty good deal. It's store brand. Who cares? As long as it's good and safe to eat, I'm perfectly fine with that. 400-degree oven. Make sure the oven is cold first. Put the bacon in the oven and then turn the oven on. We're going to cook this for about 20 minutes or so, flipping it halfway through until that bacon gets nice and crispy. These are the biscuits that I'm making today. Let me get a better shot of that for y'all. Yep. I'm making some Grand's biscuits, the old school Southern home style. I know how to make biscuits from scratch, but I'm trying to make a meal for my family really quick and I don't have that kind of time. So these are always good. Don't sleep on the Grand's biscuits. Got my second baking sheet here, and I got my silicone mat. Remember when these used to give people anxiety? Like you would pull this piece of paper back and it would just pop randomly and scare you? I know that couldn't have just been me. I don't care how much from scratch cooking I do. I don't care how many biscuits I've made by hand. I will always stand for a Grand's biscuit. I decided that I'm going to make grits. Got some water already boiling. Just going to flavor that with some salt, not too much. You can go ahead and pour your grits in. So what I like to do is bring my burner to low, and we're going to put this on a gentle simmer. I just cook it until it thickens, and then I add my butter, my cheese, and everything else afterwards. We'll go ahead and put a lid on it. All right. Let's give those grits another check. First, I'm gonna take some heavy cream and pour that in there. Don't worry if it looks like this. You may think it looks a little bit too soupy, but once it starts to cool down, of course, grits coagulate and it'll get thicker, so it'll be fine. Now toss in half a stick of butter and then go in with some cheddar cheese because my wife loves cheese grits. This one I say just put as much as you feel like you want. You don't have to go by any specific measurement. Oh yeah. Nice cheesy grits, I love it. All right, so crack your eggs into your bowl as best as you possibly can, one-handed if you can. Okay. You know what? Third time's the charm. That's all I needed to say. It was third time's the charm, right? Now, a tip that I like to give to most home cooks that a lot of chefs will tell you, when you're cracking your eggs, try not to crack it on the side of the bowl, because what happens is you risk getting more shells into your egg. While they're pretty much easy to take out, you really don't want to have to go through the hassle of digging through egg to take out shell. So, hard surface like this, crack. Easy peasy. Now, one thing that I highly recommend is if you're making your eggs, try to put something in it that will help make it creamy and the texture a little bit thicker. I like to use a little bit of heavy cream, but you can use whole milk, 1%, 2% if you like. You could even use creme fraiche, sour cream, Greek yogurt for extra protein. I don't get why people say they don't like eggs. I think it might be the texture that they don't tend to gravitate to, but I ate eggs a lot as a kid. Growing up, my mom would always tell me stories about how when I was a child that she would have a hard time getting me to sleep. And I have insomnia now, so it's hard for me to sleep as it is. But whenever I was younger, she would give me scrambled eggs and that would put me right to sleep. I don't eat it now for that kind of comfort, although it does bring up those memories. I just eat it because I love the taste of eggs. All right, last but certainly not least, we're gonna make our eggs. I'm just gonna take a tablespoon of butter and get that in the pan so we can get that melted. Now we pour our eggs. Get every bit of egg in there, my friend. And like I always say, the second those eggs touch the pan, you want to begin stirring. The combination of the heavy cream and the butter is going to give you nice, velvety, smooth eggs, just how I like them. And then once your eggs start to come together, that's when you can add your salt, your pepper, and your cheeses. All right, at this point, you can turn the heat off because the residual heat from that pan is going to cook the eggs the rest of the way. And at this point, I just like to get all the scrapes and the bits off and to continue the cooking process. Nice, fluffy. Oh yeah, they're looking good, my friends. Add your salt, your pepper, add as much as you like. Hella cheddar cheese, because my wife loves cheesy eggs. Check it out. Cheesy scrambled eggs. All right, let's go fix wifey's plate. Get some of those grits on the plate first. Make sure that she gets the crispiest pieces of bacon. Boom, 3 strips to do it. I'm gonna put a couple of ramekins on the plate. One with some butter for her biscuits. She wants some strawberry jam. Ooh, look at that. Those are those grands I was talking about, y'all. Those look so good. I usually give her 1 just because I know she doesn't eat too much, but if she does get hungry for more, then of course we'll give her some more. Put some of these cheesy eggs on the side. Supposed to be for presentation, but as long as she's happy, that's all that matters. Yeah, check it out. Looking good. All right, y'all, so we got breakfast ready here. It's looking good, smelling good, it's nice and hot. I'm about to go feed the wife and kids. When I come back, I'll get dessert ready, but in the meantime, enjoy this breakfast. You know, it's funny. My wife was telling me that she wanted me to surprise her with dinner, and she didn't want anything fancy, like no steak or lobster or anything like that. She just wanted something nice and simple. I was like, all right, I'll make you some wings. I'll make you some cream spinach. I'll make you some yellow rice. She loves yellow rice. And I'll make you some Philly cheesesteak wontons, because who doesn't love Philly cheesesteak wontons? Make a nice little dip or a ranch or something like that with it. Perfect. She gonna go tell me that's a hood meal. I'm like, first of all, ain't nothing wrong with a hood meal at all. I gets down with a hood meal. But you know, that's what she wanted. That's what she getting. All right, y'all, breakfast was a hit. The kids, the wife loved it. Now I'm gonna make this dessert. As I told you before, I'm doing a strawberry crunch no-bake cheesecake. It's a really simple recipe. It is a bit time consuming because it takes some time for the things to chill, but it's not hard to make. I'll go ahead and give you the step-by-step. And of course, I'll be dropping the recipe on my website, so make sure you check on the link in the description so you can make this at home. But first, let's get started with our strawberry crunch mixture. All right, let's get started with our strawberry crumble. I like to make it easy on myself, so we're starting out with some golden Oreos. Take one, you know. Gotta make sure there's no poison in it, right? I usually like to grab a whole entire sleeve to make sure that I have enough crumble. Counting that, that should be about, actually, let's do a sleeve and a half, just because I want to make sure that I have enough. All right, there we go. If you want to make this a little bit easier, where you don't have to wash a dish or even have to go through that whole ordeal, Ziploc bag, something heavy like a rolling pin, and just crush. Then we're going to pour all of those Oreos into our bowl like so. We're going to take 1 packet of strawberry jello. And we're going to take about 4 tablespoons of butter that's melted and already cooled to room temperature. And we're going to slowly incorporate that in there. And you can see it starting to come together pretty nicely. You don't want to do it all at once because you want to slowly incorporate all that so every bit of cookie gets some of that jello mixture in it. That is a easy, quick, efficient way to make strawberry crumble. That can go on any dessert, cake, go on any topping. Just get a little taste test. Oh yeah. That's the bank right there, straight money. This is a no-bake cheesecake. We're gonna get our crust ready. So, we're gonna take some more. We're gonna take some more of those golden Oreos and we're gonna build our crust. Now this one is a bit different, but as I say with anything that I cook or bake, trust the process and you'll see the vision. You already know what I'm going to tell you. Same process as before. Get them nice and crumbled up. Again, if you have a food processor, if you have a very powerful blender, this would make it a bit easier. But you know what else is easier? Not having to wash a dish after you clean up. Throw in your bits of cookie. Get that all in there. All right, so we've got our crumbled up cookies. Now we're gonna make the base of our cheesecake. And again, slowly incorporating that butter and giving it a stir. All right. Got myself a nice little casserole dish here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put this into our casserole dish. Get every bit that you paid for out of there. And then this will be our base. It might not look like a lot, but if you spread it across, it should fit every single crevice and corner of your dish. And then here, I'll just like to press it down with the plastic spatula just to make sure that it's nice and uniform. And plus we want to make sure that every single bite that we get of this no-bake cheesecake has this base layer to it. All right, so our base layer is done. I'm going to put this in the fridge for about a half an hour to an hour, just to let it firm up a bit. And then once we're done with that, we're going to make our cheesecake layer, get everything put together, put in the fridge, and then dessert will be ready. So see y'all in a bit. All right, we're going to start off with a fourth a cup of granulated sugar. And then real quick, we're going to go in with 2 moderately heaping tablespoons of milk. And then I'm going to go in with a whole 8-ounce container of cream cheese. I don't know if you guys heard me that whole entire time, but if you didn't hear me, just a quick recap. 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of milk, a whole 8-ounce block of cream cheese, and we put it in our stand mixer. If you have a hand blender, if you want to whisk it by hand, that's perfectly fine. This just makes my job a whole lot easier. And we're just going to mix this up until it gets smooth. So for this next step, you can use Cool Whip,
You can use Cool Whip, you can use homemade whip, whatever your preference is. I'm using a mix of some homemade whip that I made. I didn't want to go to waste. And I'm just going to fold that in there. Kind of get all in there. You don't want to mix it. You want to kind of fold it so it incorporates perfectly. Now I'm just going to take, I know I say Cool Whip, but store brand's the same thing pretty much. I'm going to take another heaping spoonful of the store brand one because this one is actually a little frozen. So that's going to help add some more texture to our mix. Want to stop acting like a jerk? Get in there. Yeah. All right. Like I said, we're just going to fold this in here because we don't want that to mix. We want to keep that thickness and consistency together. And as you can see, it's starting to come across quite nicely. Let's just do it this way. Give you a better view. All right. Now we're in business. All right, so as you can see here, that layer has firmed up quite nicely. So at this point, what I want to do is just take a little bit of that cream cheese and whipped mixture. I'm just going to spread that across evenly. And remember, the goal of this is to make sure that every piece, every crevice, corner, whatever, is covered with the mixture so everybody gets a fair amount of ingredient in each bite. I did this a while ago when I made my chocolate version of a cheesecake, but this one I want to use some graham crackers and we're going to layer it across like so, kind of similar to how you do if you're making a lasagna and you're putting on your lasagna noodles. And you're always going to get little corner pieces like this. That's perfectly fine. What I like to do is just take a whole graham cracker, break it into even pieces, and just kind of get in those corners like so. And again, this way you can assure that everybody who wants to take a bite of this isn't missing any ingredient. Like, you don't want to have it to where, hey, you know, I'm getting a bite and I'm supposed to get a graham cracker, but I'm missing graham cracker. So as long as it fits, if you have any empty pieces here, that's perfectly fine as well. There we go. All right, the first layer is done. I'm going to put this in the fridge for about 30 minutes or so. But in the meantime, let's make our vanilla pudding mixture. I ain't going to hold you. This next step, I really don't feel like bringing out the stand mixer again, but that's perfectly fine. All you want to do is get a pack of vanilla pudding jello mixture. That whole pack is going to go into your bowl. And we're going to slowly pour that in there and whisk. It's looking nice and beautiful and golden. I'm gonna put this in the fridge to chill for a little bit, and at the same time the cake is chilling in the fridge, so by the time both of them chill I can pour this on top, finish the rest of my cake, and then we'll be good to go for dessert, and then we'll get ready for dinner. Alright, so I have the rest of my base here. Got that good graham cracker layer going on right here. You can see that the pudding has sort of set, but that's fine. I'm just gonna mix it in a little bit just so we can get it nice and smooth. What we're gonna do is just pour some of that pudding on top. Actually, you know what? Let's just pour it all. I mean, we're here now, right? We might as well finish the job. Alright, then we're just gonna spread that pudding across like so. Might even want to get fancy with your design here. I mean, if you can, that is. You don't have to. Got my strawberry crunch mixture here. And then I'm gonna spread as much of it as I can across, just getting those corners, and just the same thing like you did with the strawberry crunch pieces, just sprinkle some of those graham crackers on top. So I want to spread that last little bit of the cream cheese mixture, and I would say do this in sections so this way you don't break up too much of that crunch layer. And then to finish it off, add those graham crackers to the top. And then that last bit of the strawberry crumble mixture. All right, we're all set. Then we'll get dinner ready. So Fridge first, let this chill, get dinner ready, everybody eats, and then we enjoy a nice dessert. Let's rock and roll.
All right, y'all. Now it's time to get our chicken seasoned up. Let's go ahead and get our chicken marinated. So I've got some whole wings here. You know, typically I would go for flats and drums and separate them, but I'm in the mood for whole wings and so is she, so that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna season it first with some kosher salt. Then we're gonna season it with some pepper, some garlic powder, slight bit of onion powder. Wings aren't wings without some smoked paprika, so make sure you add that in there as well. Helps to give it some color. We like a little bit of spice with our chicken wings, so I go in with a little bit, like less than a tablespoon of chili powder, some cayenne pepper, and some all-purpose seasoning, just to balance out that flavor. Old school Southern cooking, you know the vibes. Always go for that French's golden mustard. It's the classic. Then you're just gonna sprinkle some of that over the chicken, not too much. This just helps to bind it. And for those of you worrying out there, it's not gonna taste like mustard. Mustard is just a binder for it. You just wanna give it a bit more color, so I'm gonna add some more paprika to it. See that? That is the color your wings should be looking. Coated from the top to the bottom, from the wing to the wing tip. All right, we're gonna treat this like a conversation we have with somebody we bump into from high school. We're gonna wrap this up quickly, get this in the fridge, marinate for a half an hour to an hour, or for best results, overnight. I'm only gonna marinate this until it's 12:53 my time, Eastern time, so about 4 p.m. when I start cooking. So yeah, about 4 hours should do it for me. Cut this a little old school. I'm actually doing an old school steakhouse style recipe for the cream spinach, which essentially just requires creating a roux, chopping up some onions and garlic, seasoning that roux of course, and then I'm gonna add some cream cheese, some Parmesan cheese, and then letting it sit to maximize that delicious flavor. All right, we got ourselves a nice hot pan. So the first thing I want to do, just get a little bit of oil in that pan. And this will help out with getting everything to come together. There we go, that should work. At this point, you don't want to season anything because once you add the steak and it starts to cook, that's the point where you want to season. So right now, we're just getting those onions nice and caramelized. So you can see that the onions are brown, not too brown, just brown enough for me to want to move on to the next step. Get some steakums. Don't judge. If you want to be bougie and get some expensive ribeye, by all means, but in this household, steakums get the job done. Throw the sheets on like so. You got a tougher spatula. Did you miss me? Obviously, still some pink in there, but that cooks rather quickly. So at this point, we can go ahead and season our meat. Of course, go ahead and throw in some salt. Throw in a few Harlem shakes of black pepper. I also like to toss in some garlic powder in there as well. Give it some flavor. Use whatever cheese you prefer. For Philly cheesesteak, honestly, it's either American or Cooper Sharp for me. And I mean like white or yellow American, but Cooper Sharp definitely gets the job done. It's rich, it's creamy. It's perfect. I don't do provolone or the Cheese Whiz. That's just not my thing. Just toss in some of that Cooper Sharp cheese. Could go a little bit more than that. We want these wontons are nice and cheesy. The family is gonna love this one. Just give it a nice little look-see. That is beautiful. Nice, rich and creamy.
Gonna let that cool for a little bit before we go ahead and put those in the wontons. Alright, we got our pan nice and hot, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our cream spinach. That's what I like to do. I like to put a little bit of oil on that pan just to help get things jump started. Start with our onions. This part won't take too long. I'm not looking to get much browning on the onions, just to kind of get them to soften up a little bit. Onions are browning. Go ahead and toss in your garlic. This part won't take too long because we don't want that garlic to burn. I'm going to add my butter. And we're going to build a base of our cream spinach. Typically in most recipes you see, they want you to melt the butter, then put the onions and the garlic. But I don't want that butter to burn, so I like to cook it with the oil first and then put the butter in. But of course you can do what you please. I just find this to be a little bit easier. All right, and now we're gonna add our flour. Just gonna cook that flour out about 1 or 2 minutes. And now you want to go ahead and put your combination of milk. I'd say about 1/3 or so of chicken stock. That's just going to help flavor everything up quite nicely. So going with some salt. Give it a Harlem Shake's worth of pepper. And some of that beautiful garlic powder. All right, my friends, now we're going to go in with our spinach. I'm going with a lot, and don't worry because that water and moisture from the spinach will go ahead and get into that roux and help to cook it down a bit. Alright, and that's it. It's going to add some Parmesan Asiago Romano cheese. This will help out. Just bring it all together. It's going to be delicious. That's gonna be money in the bank, baby. Look at that. All right, so next thing we're gonna go ahead and do is we're going to make our wontons. Another simple process. You get a cold glass of water. It's gonna help bind everything together. Stack my wontons there. So step one. Get you a wrapper, and then you're going to take your ice water, dip your finger in it, and just brush around the edges. And this sort of works as the glue that will put those wontons together. Don't need too much, you don't want to damage the wonton wrapper. And then you're going to take just a small scoop, and then you're going to bring it over like so. And then you're going to crimp, and then crimp, and you're going to crimp again. And you're just going to pinch the edges, and boom. There you go. Those are your wontons. I just realized that y'all might want to make it a little bit prettier than that, so I'll go ahead and show you. So, same method. Brush the edges with some water. Remember, not too much. Chew a spoonful. You don't want to overdo it. That should be fine. Take each edge, going this way, then we're going to pinch it like so, and then bring the edge up like this, and then kind of divide it almost like you're making wings, not chicken wings, like butterfly wings. And then you do the same thing for this, crimping the edges. You'll see here that is a beautiful looking wonton. Careful with putting these in. And you want to make sure that you're careful not to overcrowd your fryer. I have a big enough pan to where I can put a bunch of these in, so it'll help with the cooking process. But again, I'm not going to overcrowd the fryer. These are pretty much done. Give you guys a little close-up of that. You can see they're nice, golden brown, crispy.
Absolutely perfect. All right, we're almost done. Now it's time to bread our chicken. This one isn't too complicated. Start off with adding your flour to your bowl, and then you're gonna add the same seasonings that you added earlier. So you're gonna go in with your salt. You're just gonna toss in some of that black pepper. You know, like I said, a few Harlem Shakes worth. Garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika. That's to give it some color. Cayenne pepper. Add your chili powder. Go ahead and add your all-purpose seasoning. And then you want to add the seasoning from the dude who kind of looks like the guy from the Tyler Perry movies, Mr. Brown. You know what I'm talking about. Add that in there. Take your wing, dump it in the flour. Give it a little shake. Yep. And that's exactly how it should look. No naked pieces whatsoever. Also, I realize that a lot of you may not have a food thermometer in your home, and that's perfectly fine. If you have a chopstick or some type of wooden spoon, just go ahead and stick that into the oil. Once you start to see it bubbling, that's how you know it's ready to fry. Little tip. Listen to that sizzle. Yeah, boy. Actually, I'll put it down this way because I want the wing tip to cook. There we go. Get a load of that. See if I can give you a better shot, like a money shot. Can we get it done? Yeah, boy. There we go. That is the money shot right there. We like them fried heart with a T. I know she likes herself a good sauce, so I added a spicy horseradish right here. All right, this is for y'all to see. Now I just need to take some pictures for the gram. All right, everybody enjoyed their dinner. No surprise there. So now it's time for dessert. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Check it out. It doesn't have to be the prettiest looking plate. I mean, after all, we don't want to take attention away from you. What? Oh my God, this is so good. I really surprised myself with this one. This is phenomenal. We have to do this again sometime. So if you like the content that you see, make sure you click on that subscribe button to get the latest updates on all of my recipes and videos. Make sure you follow me for more recipes like these. And until the next time we feast, peace.